Hi folks, and welcome to the next instalment of still life photography, and we're moving on to artificial lighting. Okay, so if you've watched the natural lighting video, then excellent. It's a continuation on from there. I'm just going to do things a little bit differently in this one. If you haven't seen that, as a super quick recap, we're doing still life photography, which is really highlighting on the composition, the shadows and the highlights of the image that you're creating. We're going to be using some longer shutter speeds. We've got our camera on a tripod ready to go because of the longer shutter speeds, avoiding the camera shake if we're shooting personally. I'll be using my wired remote trigger. If you don't have one of those, just set your camera on timer, and again that will help reduce some of that shake. Okay, in this video we're going to be focusing on the artificial lighting aspect. So for this, in addition to all the other prep that I mentioned earlier, which is obviously camera, tripod, remote trigger, what you're going to be shooting, a bit of space and plenty of time, okay, because this will take a bit of time. I also have a light stand, which is basically just a tripod with a light setting at the top, and I'm going to be using a small video light here. This is a Godox LED 36. Okay, relatively small, relatively inexpensive and quite simple. Bonus of this is adjustable, as you can see, and because it's so small, it's very portable, which means I can adjust that light as I wish, and I'll show you the benefit of that in just a sec. Whatever lighting you have is going to be absolutely fine, whether it is anything from a desk lamp or house light in the house, to lighting panels, to constant lighting bulbs through umbrellas or softboxes. There's a speed light or more powerful strobes. Anything at all you have, you're going to be able to make use of. Okay. Now, moving on to the benefit of the artificial lighting over the natural light. So natural light is great. You get a nice, soft, kind of well spread, relatively restricted in terms of what you can do and moving things around. I'm going to switch over my camera here just to get a little bit closer into these little plants. Okay, and what you'll see is when I bring my little video light over, okay, you'll see how strong that light can be and also how strong those shadows are as well. And if I move this around, you'll be able to see how much these shadows are changing. Okay, the background shadows on the leaves themselves, I can come right above, I can come off to the side, and you'll see how these shadows are moving if I come around the front here. Okay, so there's a lot more I can do with this. Because it's down below, I can have those shadows quite harsh, or I can dim that right down, and while the shadows are still there, a little closer, while the shadows are still here, they're much gentler. Okay, so this gives me a lot of other range, a lot of other scope. This gives me a lot more scope in what I can do and how I can light this. Okay, in terms of the camera settings, it's still going to be a longer exposure. Okay, it's going to be a little bit hard to get it set to begin with. Particularly just because obviously you won't have a set light that you're exposing for. We're going to do a little bit of trial and error and see how we go. We're still going to want that fairly big f-stop in terms of the aperture, because we want everything in focus. Okay, we want to keep the ISO nice and low. We don't want grain or noise, again, unless that's a creative decision that you're going for, but we're going to keep that low, and it's mostly going to be the shutter speed that is going to control how much light we're getting into this. Okay, again, subject's not moving, camera's not moving, so the shutter speed can be as long or as short as we need. Okay, now obviously for this to work properly, the lights, which is just the normal bulb in the room here, is going to be going off, and we'll have my little camera, which is nice and close in, and you'll be able to see what I'm doing with the lights with each shot, just to see how the light is hitting the subjects, the kind of shadows it's casting, and then we'll take a look at the overall image at the end. Okay, so I'm just going to get myself set up here. I'm going to get my little light on its stand ready to go, get my camera set up, and we'll just switch over and go from there.